free. I've got one of those brain things cornered. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others? I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry. I saw you on the ship, strutting about whilst I was trapped in that pod. What did you and those tentacled freaks do to me? You arrogant little...
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light. The fear.
What was that? What's going on? The worm. Of course. That explains things. Somewhat. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies. I'm out of wine and flowers, so I hope an introduction will suffice. My name's ASTARION. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me. Is that so? We clearly move in different circles. No. Of that much we can be certain. These worms are already affecting me. I can feel it. Now, what to do about it? I was ready to go this alone, but maybe sticking with the herd isn't a bad idea. Safety in numbers, after all. And I hate to turn down an invitation. All right. Maybe I'll see you there. Good luck.
You don't sleep well, flitting between dreams and nightmares. Maybe you wake up because you know something is wrong. Or maybe you just get lucky.
Shit. No, it's not what it looks like. I swear. I wasn't going to hurt you. I just needed, well, blood.
There, in the dim firelight, you see him for what he really is. A vampire, a slave to sanguine hunger.
It's not what you think. I'm not some monster. I feed on animals, boars, deer, kobolds, whatever I can get. I'm just too slow right now. Too weak. If I just had a little blood, I could think clearer, fight better. Please. At best, I was sure you'd say no. More likely, you'd ram a stake through my ribs. No. I needed you to trust me. And you can trust me. Thank you. Do you think you could trust me just a little further? I only need a taste. I swear. Really? Of course. Not one drop more. Let's make ourselves comfortable, shall we?
sinks like a shard of ice into your neck. A quick, sharp pain that fades to throbbing numbness. Your breath catches, your pulse quickens. You lean into him, losing yourself. You can feel your blood racing, coursing through both your bodies. A gentle, numb feeling starts to spread.
Of course. I was just swept up in the moment. But it worked. I feel good. Strong. Happy. Shouldn't take long. So many people need killing. Now, if you'll excuse me, you're invigorating, but I need something more filling. This is a gift, you know. I won't forget it.
You watch as he stalks towards the forest, stronger, more confident, ready to hunt.
Good morning. How do you feel? It'll pass. Just be glad I'm not a true vampire. A bite from them and you might wake up as a vampire spawn, like my good self. All of a vampire's hunger, but few of their powers. Oh no, I should be cinders in this light. I hadn't seen the sun for 200 years before we crashed here. Someone, or something, wants me alive. They've changed the rules. Standing in the sun, wading through a river, wandering into homes without an invitation. They're all perfectly mundane activities now. As for my other quirks, well, we can figure those out in time. You're such a sweetheart. I'm just glad you're being sensible about these revelations. I was worried people might turn up with torches and pitchforks. Although there's still time.
So we're traveling with a vampire, are we? Of course we are. Word of warning, Astarion. I taste absolutely awful.
I'd just better not wake in the night to find fangs at my throat.
Quite the opposite. I'm here in the spirit of openness and honesty to work together as a team.
Maybe we could get him to wear a bell. Dissuade any nighttime prowling.
There now. We're all friends again. Shall we go? There's a long day ahead of us. I had the strangest dream last night. There was a visitor promising me protection and all sorts of delicious powers from the parasites in our heads. Given our shared affliction, I suppose you had a similar dream. Excellent. Now we can see what these tadpoles can do for us. Exactly. Waste not, want not. Even when it comes to mind flayer parasites. Now, was there anything else? I've already apologized. What more do you want? Unless you're looking for another nibble. Maybe. But there won't be any more midnight surprises. I can promise you that. My sweet, there is nothing I'd like more. I'll come to you tonight, when you're snugly wrapped in your bedroll, and we can have a little privacy. And this time, I'll make sure I'm quiet. We don't want to disturb your rest. Later on, when we are at rest, I will eat you right up. Just enough to give me strength, and just enough to leave you wishing for more. You know, I never pictured myself as a hero. Never thought I'd be the one they'd toast for saving so many lives. And now that I'm here, I hate it. This is awful. We killed some goblins to save some tieflings. The tally of lives didn't change much. But what do I get for all my hard work? A pat on the head and vinegar for wine. Pfft.
It's a heavy, rich red, dry and sharp.
See what I mean? Awful. All I want is a little fun. Is that so much to ask? Don't be so sour. I like a good time as much as anyone. You know, we could always make our own entertainment, darling. Get a little closer, so to speak. What? Please. Cheeky little pup. I'll see you later. You're eager, aren't you? But we need to wait a little longer. Once everyone's in their bedrolls, we'll slip out of ours and find each other.
Buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk.
Though you seek repose, you needn't spend the night alone.
There is one who yearns for you in the dark. Who will you seek? Your heart skips a beat. What treasures might this night bestow?
There you are. I've been waiting. Waiting since the moment I set eyes on you. Waiting to have you. sleep light. I thought you'd be exhausted after last night. Tempting, but this might not be the time or the place. Delicious as you were, I didn't want to go too far. Now, shall we get on? I want to go before anyone else thanks me for saving their tails. It's a poem. A gift from my old master, Cazador. He considered himself quite the artist and used his slaves as a canvas. He composed and carved that one over the course of a night. He made a lot of revisions as he went.
You recall the sharp, complex lines of the script. It was written in the language of the Hells.
Infernal? Who knows? The bastard was insane. Anyway, enough pillow talk. Let's go before the tieflings drag us into another mess. I suppose you want to hear about Cazador. I don't want to say a damned thing, but that won't do anyone any good. Cazador Zar is a vampire lord in Baldur's Gate, the patriarch of his coven, and a monster obsessed with power. Not political power or military power, I mean power over people. The power to control them completely. He turned me nearly 200 years ago. I became his spawn, and he became my tormentor. Not him, no. A gang of thugs attacked me, angry about a ruling that I'd handed down as magistrate. They beat me to death's door when Cazador appeared. He chased them off and offered to save me, to give me eternal life. Given that my choices were eternal life or bleed to death on the street, I took him up on the offer. It was only afterwards I realized just how long eternity could be. He had me go out into Baldur's Gate to fetch him the most beautiful souls I could find. It was a fun little ritual of his. I'd bring them back, and he'd ask if I wanted to dine with him. And if I said yes, he'd serve me a dead, putrid rat. Of course, if I said no, he'd have me flayed. Hard to say which was worse. Thank you. But this isn't about sympathy. It's about knowing what we might be up against. The Mind Flayers aren't the only monsters out there, and they might not be the only ones hunting us. All I'm asking is that you keep your eyes open and watch out for anything lurking in the shadows. What more could I ask? Now, is that all? Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again.
Need a moment for the two of us.
A line with a fork and 1, 2, 3 dots. Bloody infernal. How was anyone meant to read this garbage? What are you doing? It's, well, I have no idea. I've been trying to trace the words, but they may as well be written in Rashimi. That had better be a joke. I can't read it with a mirror, and it seems I can't read it with my hands either. So, I was wondering if maybe, perhaps, you might be able to, Can you read what's on my damn back? Please. Thank you.
The jagged script is definitely infernal, the language of the hells, but you can't make out its meaning.
And what can you see? What in the hells? What did he do to me? If it's a poem at all, 2 centuries carrying this, and I can finally see it. None at all. Cazador was only figuratively hellish. There were never any devils hanging about the crypt. Whatever he's left carved in my flesh, it's a mystery to me. Thank you, by the way. This is, well, it's something. Will we? How sweet. So, Will did the right thing, and it earned him a set of horns. Let that be a lesson to us all. I won't lie. It's tempting. If I keep the tadpole, I risk transforming into a grotesque monster. If I lose the tadpole, Cazador has control of me, body and soul, and I return to the shadows. It's grim either way. So why not sell what's left of my soul to a devil? Better he has it than Cazador. Figuring out what's happening to us, confronting a god called the Absolute, and then finding time to kill my old master before he can control me once more? Yes, that's an option, but I wouldn't bet eternity on it. I had another visit from that dream figure. I take it you did too. It claims that if we infiltrate the heart of the cult that's giving out these parasites, we'll find the answers we're looking for. It gave me another gift, too. Just like it did the first time it appeared. Rather generous, if you ask me. And while we're at it, we can see how many more of these little worms we can harvest. Now, was there anything else?
Bird would be nice.
Here's my little treat with their cheeks all flushed. You will come to my bed tonight, won't you? I'm amazed you managed to keep your mind clear enough to fight. I've been thinking about our last night together ceaselessly. I'll be in quite a spot of mortal peril if you let me keep distracting myself dreaming instead of doing. We can't have that, can we? It would be very dangerous. I'll be waiting. So, you've indulged. Just helped yourself to a little more power, I see. And there isn't a tentacle to be seen. Not a bad deal, I'd say. My only complaint is that you didn't want to share. I wouldn't mind indulging myself. Excellent. I'll have a rummage around and help myself in my own good time. Thank you. Your generosity is appreciated. Looking at something. The only benefit to a mirror when you have my condition, it doesn't quite make up for the lack of a reflection, mind you. Preening in the looking glass. Petty vanity. Of course I miss it. I've never even seen this face. Not since it grew fangs and my eyes turned red. I don't know. I can't remember. My face is just some dark shape in my past. Another thing I've lost. What? I want to know what the world sees when it looks at me. What you see. Excuse me, I'm an eternally young vampire, not your doting grandmother. You can do better. What else? Very good. Now just tell me I'm beautiful and we can call it a day. How dare you? I thought we had something special. Still, you were nice too. I better get some beauty sleep. It seems I need it if I'm to catch up with the competition. I've been thinking about the runes Cazador carved into my back. I don't know much about Infernal, but I know anything written in Devil script is going to be bad news. I'm afraid that through those runes, somehow, Cazador might still be able to dominate me. Any excuse to get my shirt off, I see. But no, I don't think another viewing will serve any purpose. I need someone with a little more expertise. Our devilish friend, Raphael. If anyone's going to know about infernal text, he will. Well, we won't know until we ask now, will we? Unfortunately, he comes and goes in his own schedule, so we'll just have to look out for any sulphurous odors or the sound of questionable poetry. Meanwhile, I think I'll spend some time studying the art of infernal negotiations. It feels like we're being watched. Hunted, even. But there's nothing out there. Only more darkness. I much prefer it when I'm the one prowling in the shadows. About to strike. Sorry, did you want something? Or just looking for a distraction? You know, I feel a connection between us. Like we're two souls walking the same path. You might be a little naive in the ways of the world, but I see promise in you. Ambition. Such a strong word. We have our differences, but we don't have to, do we? I just worry that we're not considering all our options when it comes to our uninvited guests. How many people are infected with them, do you think? Hundreds? Thousands? And they're not just goblin trash. There are powerful people in the worm's thrall. Whoever's waiting for us at Moonrise Towers controls it all. But if we can take that control from them, Imagine the power we'd wield. I mean, I assume there's some device controlling these things, so we find that. Murder some people and, Look, I'm not a details person, all right? But turning up and causing chaos has worked for us so far. I'm just saying, there's an opportunity here. If we can control the tadpoles, we can keep ourselves safe. And liberate the world from this evil. 2. It's not often the universe hands you something like this. We'd be fools to squander it. Of course, this all assumes we live long enough to find this, moonrise. But I'm feeling optimistic. It's not a plan yet. More a feeling. Just an itch at the back of my mind. But I know I'm missing something. Whatever Cazador did to me, it was more than his usual sadism. It had purpose. Once I know what that purpose was, maybe a plan will present itself. But for now, I just need to scratch this itch.
Dryden doing the cops' work.
Don't wander far.
Your move, Maul.
You trapped me? I didn't even want to take this one.
Kalimshan rules, dear. The first piece touched is the first piece moved.
That's garbage! No matter where the night goes, I'm gonna lose it!
Then make the sacrifice useful. Guard your Mistra, or come for my Cyric.
What's going on here?
Look who made it! For once, I saved your butt out there, didn't I? We're square now, Chief. Say, do you play lance ball by any chance? It's my first time playing.
I see that glint in your eyes. You've a strategy in mind. The same one as me, I'd wager. Exactly what I was about to suggest.
My, the Thescan double counter gambit. Vicious. Exactly what I would have done.
How's that for Kalimshan rules?
Brava. Lovely work. I see I was right to make you the offer I did. You will consider it, won't you? What a lovely specimen she is. A blushing apple begging to be plucked.
Please let me smack this creep.
The Thescan move suggestion was inspired. I had no idea you played. Hell is wherever I take it. I just call it hope, remember? But don't you worry about Moll. It goes without saying she still has the unconditional freedom to choose the only option she has left. Now, let's talk about you. I sense there's something you want to ask me.
I do. I have a proposal for you.
A proposal? If you're hoping to taste my blood, little vampling, think again. It burns hotter than wyvern whiskey.
This is serious business. Devil. Well, a long time ago, someone carved infernal runes into my back. They're a fragment of a contract. I'd like to know what the full contract says.
Oh, such impatience. It's something very important to your master, but is it a love letter, a warning, or a deed of ownership? I could give you all the gory details, but of course, you'll have to do something for me first. Let me think about it, and get back to you.
You'll get back to me? This is important, Devil. When?
Don't worry, I'm motivated to help you. Scars often tell such wonderful stories. I think yours might be truly exquisite. I'll see you soon.
I hear you found a new lover. So, will you want to keep yourself your new, true love? Is this the end of our late-night trysts? Even though they were an awful lot of fun. What? Why? I mean, obviously I can understand why. We've had a lot of fun together. But I thought you had something more with Gale. No, I mean, you were a lot of fun, but I didn't expect anything more than that. We could try, if that's truly what you want. You'll need to end things with Gale, of course. Make sure it's actually him, by the way. You can never tell with those projections of his. Well, darling, in that case, consider yourself well and truly taken. You know, this has been a surprisingly delightful conversation. Let's see what other surprises we have in store for each other.
Our hero thought but of treasure ahead, did not consider the peace of the dead. Through the dark he went creeping, and awoke what was sleeping. A new grave they dug, which he himself fed.
How long were you skulking there, practicing that rhyme before I arrived?
Until it was perfect. I've grown quite fond of you, you know, in my way. I thought it only fair to warn you about the dangers ahead.
Did you now? And what danger would that be?
There is a creature that lurks in silence and shadow. A creature who, like me, is very much of the infernal persuasion. In truth, it is carnage incarnate. So if you meet the devil of which I speak, kill it. Consider no other course of action. I'll be pleased to follow up on your little escapades in your camp one of these nights. Should you live to tell your tale, that is. And don't think I've forgotten your tale, Astarion. When the beast is dead, I'll consider that payment enough to translate those scars of yours.
Really? That is suspiciously fair.
You wound me, Spawn. I always deal fairly. And will close this particular deal soon enough. Vanquish the beast, and all will be revealed. Do you know what happens when a devil is struck down on this charming plane of existence? It returns to the hells, to the very point where it last stood before venturing to whichever devil-forsaken plane it died on. In the case of our friend Yrgir, the Orthon you so handily dispatched in the Temple of Shah, he manifested in my House of Hope. He returned to me chastened but intact. His wounds healed, his body restored. He thought I would dismember him. But he has his uses, so instead, I am re-educating him.
We delivered the devil. Now I want what I'm owed. We had a deal.
Indeed we did. I discovered all there is to know about those scars of yours. It's a rather grim tale. Even for my tastes.
I'd appreciate a little less enthusiasm when it comes to Cazador and his horrors.
Oh, come, Astarion. We're about to unveil your destiny. You should be quivering in anticipation. Carved into that ivory skin of yours is one part of an infernal contract between the archdevil Mephistopheles and your former master, Cazador Za. In full, the contract states that Cazador will be granted knowledge of an infernal ritual so vile it has never been performed. The rite of profane ascension. It promises to be a marvelous ceremony, very elaborate, incredibly ancient, and entirely diabolical. If he completes the rite, he will become a new kind of being, the Vampire Ascendant. All the strengths of his vampiric form will be amplified, and alongside them he will enjoy the luxuries of the living. The arousals and appetites of man will return to him, and unlike Astarion, he will have no need of a parasite to protect him from the sun. But the ritual has its price, as all worthwhile things do. Lord Cazador will need to sacrifice a number of souls, including all of his vampiric spawn, if he is to ascend. Imagine how he felt then, when one of those precious spawns simply disappeared into thin air. The only missing ingredient is Astarion. You are the final piece he requires to complete the ritual. Your scars bind you to it. Your soul will set off a very wave of death, bringing Cazador his twisted life. And that, my tragic and toothsome friend, is that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have business elsewhere.
Do you think it's so simple? The end of my life amongst them, just when I was starting to enjoy it. He'll never leave me alone. I didn't think he would when I was just one more wretched toy for him to play with. But if I'm the key to this power he craves, he'll hunt me to the ends of Faerun. I need to take the fight to him, and I need you to help me. Thank you. So, Shah's chosen walks among us. How lucky we are. Before anything else, I need to know where it's happening. To the public, Cazador is an ordinary noble, a little reclusive perhaps, but just another of the great and the good of Baldur's Gate. He has a grand palace on the hills of the gate, where he hosts the city's high society. I don't know if you perform the ritual there. It feels too public. It'd risk exposure. I know. Subtle, isn't it? I hope so. Because I'm not striking another deal with Raphael. Knows what he'd demand this time. But if the citizens of Baldur's Gate don't know anything, my brothers and sisters might. Cazador is a master of secrets, but the other spawn must have seen something.
Araj Oblodra, trader in blood and the sanguineous arts. It is a pleasure to stand before a true soul and your pale companion. I'd like to offer my services, if you're willing. I trade in blood and the potions that can be wrung from it. I'm more than happy to make you one, if you'd honor me with your blood. With one drop, I can brew a rather potent potion for you. The rest, I keep for myself. Research, naturally. A little experimentation, perhaps. I have an innate curiosity for all things sanguine. Just a little prick and it's all over. Close your eyes. There we are. All of your very best traits in a bottle. Use it well. Although perhaps there's one more thing we could discuss. Your friend. He's a vampire, no? Or one of their spawn, at least.
Oh, don't worry. We're all friends under the Absolute. I won't bite.
Oh, I'd prefer if you did. I assume he belongs to you? I'm sure he really believes that. How utterly adorable. Do you have a name, Spawn?
Astarion, but hold on.
Good. Now, Astarion. I've dreamt of being bitten by a vampire since I was a young girl.
I'm sorry, you want to be bitten?
To feel your life's blood slipping away. To dance on the edge between life and death. Yes, I want it. I'll even compensate you. A potion of legendary power that forever increases the strength of the one who consumes it. It's not for sale, but it's yours if you bite me.
I will have to decline.
Excuse me? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you're squandering it.
I gave you my answer.
Oh, can't you talk some sense into your obstinate charge? How very disappointing.
I want to thank you. For what you said, whilst I was in front of that vile drow. I spent 200 years using my body to lure pretty things back from my master. What I wanted, how I felt about what I was doing, it never mattered. You could have asked me to do the same. To throw myself at her. What I wanted, be damned. But you didn't. And I'm grateful. It's a novel concept, I admit. And, a little intimidating. It would have been so easy to bite her. To just go along with what I was being told to do. A moment of disgust to force myself through, and then I could have carried on just like before. Well, of course. I needed protection. People don't trust vampires, perhaps understandably, so I needed to get someone on my side. And seducing you was easy, frankly. So imagine how stupid I felt when I started to genuinely feel something for you. Trust me, I was not happy about it. You were a complication I didn't see coming. And yet... Really? You're full of surprises, aren't you? Honestly, I have no idea what we're doing. Or what comes next. But I know that this is nice. Is there something you want to talk about, my dear? Us. I still love the sound of that. I don't know, but isn't it nice not to know? You're not a victim, not a target, not just one night it's better to forget. But then, whatever in the world could you be? You're beautiful. Can we? I suppose we can. How could I say no? Delicious. The gate is closed, as is Cazador. And we are no closer to knowing why that bastard is so obsessed with getting me back. To tell you the truth, I don't know whether we can defeat Cazador. Not unless we can figure out more about what he's plotting. I think we should track down my fellow Spawn. I'm not exactly looking forward to a reunion, but perhaps they'll know something. If we can find them, we can force them to tell us what he's been doing since I was gone. And honestly, I imagine they'll be coming for me in the night if I don't. Unless Cazador has changed their orders, they'll be in the dens of this town, seeking prey. We should get to them first. Then we can make their pretty tongues talk.
This city of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now. Your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love, are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor, truth a sword, and trust a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Oh, my love, how could I say no?
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Astarion, a tumultuous past, hides behind a mirthful grin. The heart is fraught, so let us begin with the joyous. When is he happiest?
Guilty as charged, sometimes literally.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. Many things delight the heart, but only one makes it sing. Tell me, what does he desire more than anything?
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. Fear sits in the soul of all. To tame it, we must name it. Astarion, what is his deepest fear?
Ha! Well, when you look this good... Well, you were right every time. I almost wish you hadn't been, but, you do know me.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
So, you're the lick-spittle who crushed the Bone Lord's throne. Oh, have you come begging, sniffing for our stones? Gortash won't like that. A throat his black hand can't choke the spit from. Oh, your bond will not save you. He will wrap its cord around your neck and make you swing from it. When you find the lordling, tell him Orin is watching.
So Orin is a shapeshifter. How long has she been watching?
It's not enough. We have a gallery of villains to look out for, but now we could be infiltrated by a shape changer? I can't even tell if any of you are acting strange because you've been replaced, or because this group is full of weirdos. I won't lie. The thought hardly fills me with glee. Even with my newfound advantages, he's still an incredibly powerful vampire. But he's arrogant, too. If he does hear I'm back, he'll try to take me and expose himself in the process. Then I'll be able to strike. It's something of a gamble, true, but if I can win, if I can beat him, it would be worth any risk. So yes, I do worry about facing him. But if we can get his attention, finding the ritual's location will be much easier, and that could give me the edge I need. Then I'll see your delicious self tonight. I'm all pointy ears, my love. I don't know, but isn't it nice not to know? You're not a victim, not a target, not just one night it's better to forget. But then, whatever in the world could you be?
We should go. I do not want to face the Master if we're late for his Black Mass.
Soon, sister. I only need one more mark.
We have enough for the Master. No more needed.
It's not for the Master, it's for me. I spent 100 years eating rats and dogs, but soon I'll be able to feast. I want someone there, ready for me. And once the Mass is done and our Lord grants us freedom, I can celebrate by drinking them dry.
Cazador promised you your freedom, and you believed him? Ha! You were never burdened with intelligence, Petras. But your load seems especially light these days.
Astarion! It cannot be.
Oh, that's no way to welcome back a brother, doll. Didn't you miss me?
Why would you come back? You got out. You were free.
Isn't it obvious, sister? He wants to ascend with the rest of us. He heard about the ritual and the power our master will grant us, so he came back with his tail between his legs, hoping all would be forgiven.
You always were an idiot, Petras. Why does Cazador need me? What is he planning?
Brother! Please!
Fine. You owe your wretched life to my friend. Now tell me what I need to know.
The Master is preparing the Black Mass. Beneath his palace, there's a defiled chapel. It was hidden there the entire time. Hidden from us all. The Black Mass. It will be his triumph. He'll complete the ritual and emerge the vampire ascendant. He'll walk in the sun. He'll be free of the hunger. He'll tap into power no vampire has ever dreamed of. Best of all, we'll join him. His loyal servants walking in the light as living vampires. We'll be free, brother.
You can't believe that, Dal. When has Cazador ever shared power?
We deserve this, Astarion. Can't you see? We've given him everything. Our blood and tears. And he's finally going to reward us. And you will be with us when the time comes. It's fate, written in your very flesh.
Yes, and they'll be trembling in fear when they tell him. They're no threat to us. And they have no choice but to do Cazador's bidding. I pity them. Still, though, a living vampire. Who wouldn't be interested? It's the ultimate freedom. Freedom from the hunger. Freedom to live a real life in the sun. No tapple required. And if I were to ascend instead of him, freedom from Cazador, once and for all. Well, it might be. And there's only one way to find out. I have to know. I have to face him. I knew I was right about you. You're a true friend. And now we know he's skulking beneath his palace. We can take the hunt to Cazador. All right, let's go. This place stinks of rat blood and despair.
You stand on a clean metal platform. A beautiful but antiquated elevator. There are some scuffs to show its age, signs of things dragged onto it over the years. But it seems to be in good working order.
What in the hells? I never knew this was here. This was always Cazador's private quarters. Only he ever came in here. Well, him and the unfortunate souls we brought to feed him.
Approaching the cells, you're met with hollow-eyed faces. There's an almost physical stink of decay and neglect.
Ugh, disgusting. Cazador never fed on wretches like this. But who knows? Maybe the old man's tastes have changed since I left.
You? I know you. You're the one from the tavern. You smiled and joked and got me drunk.
No. You're dead.
You called me so many sweet things. My name sounded like a lyric on your tongue.
Sebastian.
You remember me.
You were handsome. Shy. But you were true. 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 You were handsome. Shy. But you were true you'd never been kissed.
You taught me how. And then you destroyed me.
It can't be. It's not just him. I know so many of these faces. They're my conquests. I pursued them, seduced them, and brought them to Cazador. He told us he was feeding on them, but he turned them to spawn. He turned every last one, so we'd have souls for this cursed ritual.
How long?
What?
How long have I been down here?
170 years. You were one of my first.
My family. My friends. They're gone. You took them from me. You took everything from me. Free. We'll never be free while that monster lives.
That's why we're here. To destroy Cazador.
You can't. It's not possible. And then, what happens to us? Free from this nightmare. It doesn't feel possible.
I promise you, I know that feeling all too well. But it can be done.
Whatever you do, just do it quickly. I can't go on waiting.
We'll be back. You have my word. Gods above. He kept Sebastian. I feel ill. All the fools and villains who ever fell for my ploys, they're here. He didn't do anything at all. I can't say the same of all my victims. But why? Why does he need them alive? What possible use could they have in this ruined state? All the blood he demanded. I thought he was gorging himself on... He never could have finished half of it. He never let us drink. He never wanted us to know. I had no idea there was worse than drainage and death at his hand. I couldn't imagine. We must find Cazador. This must end.
Who stands before us? Is this truly our prodigal son? Do not slouch before me, boy. Have you no respect for yourself? Look at you, crawling back after abandoning your family. You should be begging our forgiveness. you fallen so far that this speaks for you?
I don't need anyone to speak for me.
No. You always had a gift for words. I fondly remember your empty boasting, your tired jokes, your endless prattle.
No! Shut up!
They told me you had changed. I dared not believe it. Oh, thankless child. Did I not bless you with our immortal gift? Did I not make you what you are?
You son of a bitch.
You truly forgot my power. You truly thought our bond as creator and creation was all that stopped you from killing me? Oh, you are weak, my child. You are a small, pathetic little boy who never amounted to anything. But today, you will finally do something worthwhile. You will burn, and I will ascend.
No! Stop him! Get me out of this!
Witness the birth of the Vampire Ascendant! Ecce Dominus!
No healing sleep for you! Wake up!
Get your hands off me, worm!
I'm not the one in the dirt. One last thrust, and I'll be free of you. I'll never have to fear you again. But if I finish the ritual you started, I'll never have to fear anyone. Ever.
You think me a fool? That I would allow anyone to usurp me, speak the words, and ascend in my place? The runes I carved into your flesh bind you and all 7,000 souls to the ritual. Complete it, and those bearing the scars will be sacrificed, you included. You are simply a means to an end. I made you to be consumed.
I am so much more than what you made me. I can do this, but I need your help. These people died years ago. Trust me on that. All that's left are feral spawn, desperate for blood. If we release them, how many people will they kill? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? But if they die and I ascend, I won't have to rely on the parasite to walk in the sun. I'll be free. Truly. Completely free. Isn't that what you want?
You can see the fear in his eyes, but also the hunger. The thick smell of blood in the air and the promise of power being so close is intoxicating to him. All he can see is the power of the ritual and the freedom that power brings. The freedom to do anything, to be anything.
You're right. I can be better than them. But I'm not above enjoying this.
Is it over? Is he...
Yes. He's gone.
What does that mean for us?
It means you have a choice. You can hide here, living in the shadows like parasites. Or you could be more than what he made us to be. You can choose differently, of course. But the consequences are on your head.
And what does it mean for them?
Now that is a question.
Cazador's staff controlled everything during the ritual. If it controls the cells too, you could decide their fate.
And when they're dead, will you kill us too?
We're not like those wretches, brother. We've spent lifetimes controlling our hunger. They're all but feral. I don't relish it any more than you do. But putting them to rest may be the kindest thing we can do.
Wise choice. Now the streets will be safer and you'll be stronger.
Astarion.
Follow the tunnels to the Underdark. You'll be, well, not safe there, but in less peril. I think we're done here. Let's go. That's it. He's gone. After all these years, these centuries, it's really over. I'm glad you think so, because I'm not so sure. I just feel numb. What I've lost. What I've gained. Gods. All those spawn. Dead in their cells. need some time, I think. Just to let it all sink in. Let's just go. This place reeks of death, and I want to feel alive again. Is there something you want to talk about, my dear? I was so hoping you'd say that. Until later, then. I should probably start getting used to the shadows again. Who knows how long I have left in the sun? I know. Doesn't mean it stings any less. Maybe never seeing the sun again is just the price of freedom. I think I do. Assuming we survive, of course, because a horrible death is always just around the corner with you. There's something I'd like to show you, if that's all right. Something out in the city. This way. It's not far.
The graveyard is appropriately silent. There isn't a proverbial soul around.
Nearly 200 years. And I never came back. Not since the night I woke up down there. I had to punch a hole in the coffin and claw my way through 6 feet of dirt. Then when I finally broke the surface, retching up dirt and congealed blood, Cazador was waiting. From that day on, I was his. Until today. Maybe. But he did take it. There's almost nothing left of the person I was. Just a name on a rock. For nearly 2 centuries, I stalked the streets like a ghost. Well, the person I was lay here. Dead and buried. Now I need to figure out who I am. What I want. You. I want you. You were by my side through all of this. Through bloodlust and pain and misery. You were patient. You cared. You trusted me when that was an objectively stupid thing to do. I feel safe with you. Seen. And whatever the future holds for me, I don't want to lose that. Thank you. Well, I should probably fix this. I've been dead in the ground for long enough. It's time to try living again. With everything that life has to offer. If a night of passion is on offer, I could be persuaded. You know, I didn't care for you when we first met, but I do now. Being with you is about more than lust or manipulating you into a tactical alliance. I love you. I love this. And I want it all. It feels ridiculous to still be thinking about Cazador. He's gone. I'm here. I won. But I still keep reliving everything that happened. Playing it over and over in my mind. Invigorating. Terrifying. All of the above. I'm still trying to understand it, really. I came so close to losing everything back there. To losing myself. Back at the ritual, all I could see was the power on offer and the safety it promised. I was so blinded by it. Just as Cazador was. But you saw something in me. Someone else I could be. Someone who could break the cycle of power and terror that started centuries ago. You saved me back there. I may not have appreciated it at the time, but I do now. Thank you. So am I. Fun as all that power would have been, this feels more me. When I look at my future, anything and everything feels possible now. And I get to share it with you as a partner. An equal. You saved me from myself. And let me walk a new path where I can be free. Truly, honestly free. This is a gift, you know. Thank you. I won't forget it. Yes, love. Yes, my sweet. What is it? It would be nice not to have to rely on you as my great protector. But, well, I do appreciate the thought. Nothing special, of course. You're only the first person who I truly care for. I always dreamed of walking these halls, you know. My dreams never included a giant brain or smoldering ruins, but I'll take what I can get. Oh, as well as can be expected when facing down the end of the world. Then we'd better make it count. We'd better survive this, because I never want to stop doing that. I can't say for sure. But we've come through a lot already. It would hardly do to fail now. Hello, darling. I was just thinking about freedom. We've dealt with the parasite, and you dealt with Cazador. I'll never be in someone's power again. And all it cost was my life in the sun. Now I belong to the shadows. So, what happens next? Do you think it's possible? I suppose there is a chance. And if there's a chance, no matter how small, I'm going to take it. And it would mean setting off on another adventure together. Is that what you want? Is this what you want? I would understand if you wanted to go your own way. Good. Because, selfless as I am, I really did not want to let you go. We are rather excellent together, you know. And united, there is nothing we can't do. I can't say what the future holds for us, but I know we'll be facing it together. And we're going to have a lot of fun.
Since the Netherbrain fell, you and Astarion have seen more of Faerun than you ever thought possible. One night, he tells you that these last 6 months of happy memories are the counterweight to 200 years of misery. The next day, you receive an invitation written in a frail hand, inviting you to a gathering back in the place where your journey together began. A chance to meet with the friends and allies who were by your side in the battle against the Absolute.
And how have our friends fared without us? I'm glad. It would be so easy to go through everything we did and come out the other side bitter and twisted. But they deserve happiness. We all do. And I will forever be grateful to have found it with you. I do feel a little bad keeping you all to myself. After all, I get to see you every night. Go on, go mingle. Enjoy your time with the others. Bless them with your presence. I'll be here when you're ready. I'll always be here, my love.
In a manner of speaking. His actual nose must be a distant memory by now.
Go on, talk to the others. We have forever after all.